I cannot believe, I am utterly shocked that after all the NHS nurses have been through over the last year and the amount of praise that's been lavished on them from the government, that they think they're only worth a 1% pay rise.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the North Devon Labour podcast. This week we've got a real treat of a guest. She's one of the kindest, most lovely people I know. She has been a lifelong Labour member and until recently was the secretary of the North Devon Labour Party. Primary school teacher here in North Devon for over 30 years, staunch campaigner. Like many members of the Labour Party, she's been really active in the community with the response to the coronavirus pandemic. And she is, importantly, a really, really active councillor in Braunton. So, welcome, Val Cann.
Hi, Nick. That's a nice introduction. Thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's what, as you deserve. I mean, you've been a real inspiration to me in the party because, of course, you were as I said, the secretary of the North Devon Labour Party until I took over a few months ago. But I mentioned that you're a primary school teacher, and I hear that you've been back in school. Tell me a bit about that.
I have, yes. It was a bit of a blast from the past. Yes, I've been going into the Braunton Academy to help them get the pupils tested, ready for school for next week. They decided to get the testing done this week so that they can get pupils straight in on Monday. And it's been going really well. The students have been really making no fuss about it. Real stars, actually. They've come in, done the test and then gone. It's been really good.
That's great. So it looks as though the back to school process is going to be relatively smooth, you think?
I hope so, yes. The staff have worked really hard and all the admin staff have been working hard with it. So, they deserve to have a really smooth start. And I think the students will be very happy when they go back.
Good, I hope so, because they've had such a tough time this year, haven't they?
They have, yes. I really feel for them.
Yeah. But of course, you've been back at school, but that's not the only thing that you've been doing in the community during the pandemic, is it? You've been part of the community response in Braunton, haven't you?
I have, yes. I've been part of the Braunton Community Network. Way back last March, we volunteered to help out with anything we could, and I took on a lot of the prescription deliveries in Braunton, and that's still going on now. We still do a few of them. It's really nice to help out in the community, and we've also been making sure that some isolated people get check-in calls. There's a whole team of people that do it, and I'm just one of a number, but it's been really good to do. And we've also helped out with some of the vaccination stewarding at the leisure centre. Again, it's just nice to be able to offer our support during this time.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it was so, I was going to say surprised, but I suppose not really a surprise, but just really heartening, wasn't it, to see how many people came forward and so quickly at the beginning of the pandemic, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, there's hundreds of us in Braunton. There's street coordinators, there's people doing shopping. Really amazing stuff. And I have to say that locally run support systems are so much more efficient than the national one that unfortunately the government tried. It just doesn't work. The local ones work brilliantly. And I don't think anybody's fallen through our net. Hopefully not. We work very hard to make sure everybody knows they've got the support they need.
Yeah, that's really interesting actually, that idea of local response and perhaps local councils being able to respond faster and perhaps have more, local authority and ability to act. Because of course you're, as I mentioned, on Braunton Parish Council, and I know that you, again, thinking about the local response and how many people came forward, you're one of those councillors that are very, very keen to work cross-party, aren't you, and work collaboratively? Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely. I mean, I do think that sort of local government, we can work together with other parties. It's not, it's not just about the Labour Party. Although I have to say, I like to push the Labour values with anything that I'm involved in on the council. But yes, it's cross-party, and that, you know, the parish council are pretty supportive of things locally. Yeah.
And of course, it's been a really turbulent 12 months, hasn't it, for local activity? And I imagine council work has been tricky, to say the least, and it must feel like a lifetime ago. The last set of elections were, and they were just in 2019. But I do know that Braunton Parish Council and you as a councillor have been very, very busy on a number of projects. I mean, can you pick out some highlights for us?
Yes, we've set up an organisation called Braunton Together, and it's an organisation where we're trying to make sure that Braunton is and remains a very supportive and respectful community, and it's an anti-discrimination group where we are trying to sign up all the businesses in Braunton to the Devon and Cornwall Police Say No to Hate Crime, zero tolerance of hate crime. We've had lots of businesses who are very happy to sign up to this. Fortunately, we don't have too many incidents of discrimination in our village, because we are generally a very friendly village, but there are some, and we don't want to have any. So this group is designed to give people who are suffering from any discrimination a vehicle to get support from. So it's going really well at the moment, and the schools have just done a poster competition for diversity, and they've produced some amazing posters, which we'll see around the village as soon as we get them printed. And well, children are the way forward, because they tend not to have any discrimination. It's learned behaviour rather than natural, so children are the way forward.
Yeah, you're right. And I have to say, it was so lovely. My daughter brought home from school. She obviously hasn't been at school recently, but a letter came home from school about the poster competition. So she's enjoyed doing that, and I can't wait to see some of them come out.
They are really good. Yeah, very good.
I know you've also been looking at issues of speed, road traffic speed, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I've done quite a lot of work in trying to get a speed sign, a flashing speed sign that just encourages people to stay within the speed limit in Braunton. We nearly got it through just before Christmas, but it hasn't quite happened yet. But hopefully it will happen soon. But also to encourage, to try and get a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit for Braunton. And it's good for villagers to have low speeds to encourage people walking and cycling, so that cyclists feel safe, as they did in the first lockdown when there were no cars about. So we're trying to recreate the calm traffic that we had then through controlling the speed.
And is it right that lowering the speed limit goes some way to easing congestion? Is that true?
It is true, because the traffic doesn't get there quickly and then have to queue. It gets there more slowly, and therefore the traffic ahead speeds through, filters through, more gradually. So yes, it does help congestion.
Yeah. And of course, we have Labour representation in Braunton on the Braunton Council. We've got Labour representation in other areas in North Devon, in Ilfracombe, Fremington, Combe Martin, and areas like this. But it is fair to say, I think, that the district and county councils are really dominated by Conservative representation and Liberal Democrat representation, particularly on the district council. And so I wonder, you touched on, bringing Labour values to your role as a councillor. I mean, I certainly feel like North Devon is missing a lot by not having more Labour representation on the district and county councils. What is it that you think residents are missing out on, or would benefit from, thinking about Labour values?
Well, my Labour values have always been, from when I was quite young, that fairness and equality. and a sort of respectful society where people feel hopeful about their prospects. And well, certainly in North Devon, we do have some, serious problems with equality, where there are some very, very poor people who can't afford decent housing, can't afford to put food on their table, certainly at the moment. And that's why the food banks are so busy. I think housing is one of the things that really concerns me. Being a very beautiful area, it attracts a lot of people to come and live here, which is good, but it means that local people can't afford to live here and can't afford the rents here, because the rents have got very expensive. So I would like to see some of the Labour values in terms of building housing that's suitable for affordable rents and affordable buying for those that want to. Yes, I've just become involved in trying to set up a community land trust for Braunton, and community land trusts are a way forward to provide some affordable housing, genuinely affordable housing, because the wages in this area are very low, and what most people, or what is usually termed as affordable, is nowhere near low enough for the local people. And to be able to allow local people, local families, children growing up here, to actually be able to stay and live and work locally and be able to afford the housing. So that's what I'm hoping would happen if we're successful with a community land trust.
That's amazing. And so what are the next steps on that project? Where are you with that?
Well, we're just about to have a public meeting so that people can come along and find out all about community land trust. That's on the 18th of March this month. And there's a public meeting that's going to be run by a professional company that are experienced in setting up and organising community land trusts, but it will actually belong to the community when it goes ahead.
Amazing. That's so exciting.
It is. There are some local, other local places that have done it, and they're very, very successful. And the houses stay for the community forever, basically. They're not allowed to be sold on as holiday homes or anything like that. So
now, Val, you clearly love where you live. I mean, you've been a teacher here for many years, as I mentioned. You're involved at every level with the community. What is it about North Devon that you love? I do ask this to most of our guests, so I'm going to ask you specifically, what's your favourite place? Where if the rest of North Devon disappeared and you were left with one place, where would it be?
Oh goodness, there's so many places. I mean, I love the beach because we walk there every day, pretty much every day, but I love Broughton Burrows. It doesn't matter what the weather's like, when you walk around Broughton Burrows and up and down the hills and the sand dune, it's just got so many different personalities. It's beautiful. And at whatever season, whether it's spring, which is gorgeous, or even icy winter, it's just stunning. And the views from there, if you go up one of the sand dunes, you've got a 360 view of North Devon, and it's beautiful. And yeah, if you've never done it, you must go and have a walk there.
You're right. I mean, imagine how lucky we all are having a biosphere like that.
I know, it's just exceptional. Yeah.
Well, Val, thank you so much for being with us. We've nearly finished. I'm not going to keep you for too much longer, but I do just want to touch on one more thing. And the budget has come out this week, and we're in a position again where it feels like care has been overlooked, and we're hearing today that the analysis of the budget shows quite clearly that this 1% rise in NHS pay is actually going to manifest itself as a real terms pay cut over the coming years. I mean, what do you think of it?
I cannot believe, I am utterly shocked that after all the NHS nurses have been through over the last year, and the amount of praise that's been lavished on them from the government, that they think they're only worth the 1% pay rise. I don't care that they say there's not enough money. There is enough money if you want to find it. And they just deserve far more respect than that. I think that's what I was utterly shocked about. And also, it's the time to invest in things. If people can keep their jobs, then they'll start paying tax and the tax will build up. You don't need to start cutting things back. You need to invest so that there are more jobs, there's more people in work, and people can up their quality of life and start paying back that way. I just think they've got it all wrong. It's completely upside down.
Yeah, I do agree with you. And it says something about, you know, what we place our value on in society, doesn't it? You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough. We won't talk about that any longer. I don't want to end
it
on
raises
too much.
my blood pressure.
I know. I don't want, let's not leave with you having a heart attack or anything like that. Val, thank you so much for speaking to us today. I really, really appreciate you giving the time.
That's okay, Nick. I've really enjoyed it, actually, speaking about it. Yeah,
That's great.
Thanks for the interview.
Well, thanks, Val, and we'll catch you again soon, I'm sure.